What's up?
What's going on, everyone? Happy Friday.
Happy Friday! How you doing, Marone?
I'm doing really good. I'm on the same page with everyone else. Loving that new intro music.
We have brand new music for the starting soon. It is a bop. It is custom music for our channel, brought to you by Valley and her team. So big thank you to Valley and her team. We're asking them how to properly credit them, how to tell you where to find them if you're interested in, I don't know, maybe commissioning music of your own.
Yeah, it was such an awesome moment to like hear it and to just be like, man, this is DGN music. This is DGN music. I love it. Such a great accomplishment.
DGN official. So to get into some of the topics that we have today, first of all, we're going to introduce ourselves. I am Kaisa.
I am Marone, and we are Daily Gaming News, also known as DGN.
Some of the topics that we're going to get into include the Monstrum 2 closed beta preview, Halo Infinite, and Ratchet Clank.
We're also going to be talking about a game that looks very exciting for the next gen called Quantum Error as they release a new teaser trailer, as well as Medal of Honor Above and Beyond's single-player trailer was also dropped.
And then, if we have time, we're going to talk about Doki Doki Literature Club and how the creator of that game got copy striked on YouTube for his own content, which is wild, just to show you how out of hand the YouTube, copyright algorithm is. And then we're going to get into Gamescom, which is happening actually right now.
Yeah, and there's I think no surprise as to what happens with Cyberpunk 2077. As best PlayStation game at Gamescom, which we'll dive into, but no shocker there. I think we're all just ready for that to be in our consoles and PCs.
Oh, totally. Also, we're still taking mailbag submissions. If you want to leave your name on there, you can. It's currently in anonymous form, but you're welcome to, credit yourself for your question if you like. And next week, we're probably going to be, diving into those more. And as with every show, what's in the mug is a question you're going to have to answer. So we have my lovely gun mug and Marone's lovely dice mug. So for me, I'll give you a hint off the bat that it is a type of juice as well.
I give no hints.
No hints for Marone.
But let's dive right in, because this was a game that we saw, we had mentioned we were going to cover, and then just under the slew of so many things happening over the past few days, we wanted to dive back in and talk about this asymmetrical shooter survival horror game that's coming out that gets the phrase coined as Dead by Torchlight.
Which is amazing. So the gameplay is playing, in the background as we talk about this game, and the concept of Monstrum 2 is simple. There's a team of 4 escaped prisoners who must survive on a facility in the middle of the sea while a monster runs around. Sounds very Resident Evil as well as Dead by Daylight, of course. So the team must turn on the power and secure the exit by finding resources and flipping power switches, all while hiding from the creature, which is controlled by another player. I think we all love, what these asymmetrical multiplayer titles do for us as gamers. However, as a hybrid of the concepts you see in games like Payday and Dead by Daylight, Monstrum 2 might in practice be a bit of a mess.
And now let us be clear, for those that have played Monstrum 2, a part of that closed beta, all have played it several months before the proposed release date. So we're talking about Monstrum 2 as it is right now, and what it will be at the time of launch does seem to be two different beasts, so that should bring some hopes that the team can tighten up the experience that some people who have played it have expressed. But right now, these are those initial beta reviews, and they don't seem that impressed.
Assuming you're playing as a prisoner, your job is to flip the power switches so you can reach the exit, and the location of those power switches might not be too obvious. In fact, the entire area is procedurally generated, though you might not be able to tell what has changed game to game amid all the darkness and panicked running. You'll be picking up resources such as health, hammers, and key items, and hiding from the monster.
Now, some of those players are saying that it's not the most immediately easy game to decipher. The limited controls the beta explains to you before throwing you into the game doesn't explain everything, nor does it explain how one actually succeeds at the game. You find those power switches, and some of them are just there ready to be flipped, but others actually require you to find, plug in a fuse, open the switch with a blowtorch, cut cable, smash through walls, swipe key cards, and a lot more.
These reviewers say the problem isn't just finding where the switches are located, it's also the case of finding where the items to open them up are, and then keeping track of those mentally. Luckily, the player can type and chat with your team and ping items to let your team members know where things are, but if your team isn't cooperating, you probably won't get far. This is certainly designed with a team of 4 players in mind, and a team that knows each other before jumping in. With friendly banter and cooperation, Monstrum 2 has a lot of potential.
And the areas actually do feel dynamic. As it was noted, you have the procedurally generated environments, which is great for replayability factor, and it feels dynamic for most players as they navigate them. But you wouldn't immediately know of it being procedurally generated, which is likely where the dev team has actually focused their efforts. When moving through the areas, players can jump through windows and smash down broken walls with a sledgehammer, making their own pathways, and it also opens up more movement space for the monster.
Playing as the monster seems a far more lonely experience, simply running and chasing the prisoners, attacking them whenever you can. Prisoners can respawn once, but if they die twice, they're out of the game. While prisoners explore the facility, they'll likely be spotted by cameras and make noise, which can be used to hunt them down. It's a far less interesting experience than being a prisoner on the run, though being able to mow down all of your prey is certainly satisfying.
I think what we're noticing, though, for what currently permeates for the beta players that are there, is that the game right now just seems to have a lack of polish. And as Guff is saying in the chat, I agree with, this does give hope that maybe there's some time before it releases to actually get that polish, because interacting with items, looking at the models for the prisoners and the monsters, the inventory system, and all of it is really asking for another pass and some tightening up. But as it stands right now, Monstrum 2 is an asymmetrical multiplayer game with a lot of potential. But until it gets a few significant adjustments and upgrades, these reviews say it all seems that we're going to hold our recommendations until that moment passes.
Monstrum game is a game we should definitely, watch out for, maybe add to your Steam wishlist if you love jumping in and playing with a group of friends. But if you prefer playing your horror games solo, then you might be better off avoiding this one or just playing as the monster, even though it's currently touted as a, quote, fairly underwhelming experience. We'll keep our eyes open, on Monstrum 2 and see, if it's going to change from the beta to the actual launch. I do think this game has a lot of potential, especially if maybe you're a Dead by Daylight fan who actually wants a bigger challenge.
Yeah, I would say that there is a lot here for this game that brings some freshness to the asymmetrical experience, because we know we've had games like that come out. A game like Evolved that was really popular, but then just somewhere along the way, it felt like the devs weren't keeping up with it. Mm-hmm. We know that Dead by Daylight is very, very popular and the community is very strong. So when you take elements that aren't there and they allow you to add things that you haven't yet got to experience, like this procedural generated area that as a player, I'm gravitated towards, because that means I get a new experience every time. And if I don't actually recognize it's procedurally generated, there's a little bit more significance there for me to continue to play and be like, what's new here? What has changed that I haven't registered? But if it feels not as polished as you'd expect a full release game to be, that's where we could probably see, or at least want to avoid, that Evolved kind of situation where it comes out and you just feel like this isn't a complete game and I paid for a complete game.
It's the worst feeling when you don't feel a game is complete, or that, it's half done. Just to respond to the chat, yes, Ray guessed it correctly. This is pomegranate juice.
Nice.
There's a little bit of aloe juice in here, but I wasn't going to hold you all to that. That's just too complicated.
If you hadn't said juice, they were going to go through all the teas.
Yes, that would have been another tea day for an hour. I think the procedurally generated part is a great concept, which I personally like, because something that's tough for me is learning the maps. With Rainbow Six Siege or Dead by Daylight, sometimes I feel like a lot of my teammates who are maybe more experienced, they know their way around, whereas I'm just spending most of my time just trying to figure out where everything is. But with this game, with Monstrum 2, it seems like everyone's going to be having that experience because the map is procedurally generated. I wonder, how difficult this game is going to be. It seems like it's extremely difficult for the prisoners, for the survivors, because you have to figure out the map, you have to find items, you have to make your way back, to unlock doors or, flip switches. This game seems like a big challenge. I hope that it's well executed. I think that if this game is going to be popular, it Has to be more fun than Dead by Daylight, which is a
Yes.
big challenge.
That is I would say the biggest challenger for an asymmetrical game right now is Dead by Daylight. And I would hope that these developers are maybe looking at that game GTFO, because something that GTFO
Right.
did when it first came out, because they're saying like this is important that you're playing with people that you know, or you're in chat, like the reviewers saying like, hey, let's not play this alone, let's play this with friends, and allow that communication to be there. It allows for a more, I would say, engaging experience. But also out of the page of the GTFO that I was mentioning was when they did their early access and their beta, there were a lot of comments that they addressed immediately and put into their games, and you still have a strong presence within that community. It might not be a really popular game that's being streamed, but it still is a popular game being played. And I would love to see these asymmetrical games really take off, because it just adds a wonderful variety to the whole multiplayer experience that we're so used to with shooters like Rainbow Six Siege, as you mentioned, or Call of Duty, or Battlefield. You know, give us something new and fresh and allow it to really, you know, take flight. And I hope this genre can stick the landing.
Me too. I think it's nice that they added, you know, text chat and pings, because in Dead by Daylight you can only, you know, emote to do hand signals because you're supposed to be quiet, but it does make it so much harder. An asymmetrical game I played was Friday the 13th, where there actually is voice chat, and the people on voice chat were like the chillest people I have ever talked to on voice chat. They were just there, you know, having a good time, and the game is kind of clunky, so they would be like, get the car, get the car, get the car, I don't know, I'm trying, and like everyone's getting like murdered while someone's like trying to get at the car and someone's trying to help them, and it's like, it's so silly because everyone is trying so hard to cooperate, which you know, seldom see in team games. But I think with asymmetrical games, you know, you've really got to try. And it also, you know, helps add some humanity, honestly, because in some Dead by Daylight games, I'll try to save someone, and then I'll save them again, and I'll save them again, and I get so frustrated, and I kind of just want to be on voice chat to be like, hey, just follow me. Just, you know, we can do this, because I don't want to be your teammate anymore if you're going to keep dying.
I'm your babysitter this entire match. I did not sign up and join this game for this. Yeah,
Exactly.
I know exactly what you mean. That's why you do, you know, you're right. That ability to communicate with one another and make sure that is clean and without bugs is really, really important. So that could be a note from these reviewers. And maybe when it goes into an open beta, which I hope that they do, you get more of that being expressed, like, hey, devs, make sure you do this, address this, because it is important. And as you were saying, and I remembered that from Friday the 13th, it is so much fun to be with chill people in this kind of game, talking to one another and really trying to work together. It just adds that layer of immersion that you want, versus like when you and someone else are attacking the same objective, trying to survive, and you're like, no, we both don't need to be working on the car right now. Someone go and find this thing or that thing. And yeah, I really hope Monstrum 2 starts to address these rather quickly.
I think so too. I hope so. We're going to definitely be keeping an eye out. It seems like a game that, you know, we're really interested in. Marone and I both like asymmetrical games. I really like horror games. So we'll be giving you updates as that game releases.
Yeah, keep an eye out there for Monstrum 2. Make sure to add it to your wish list if it's something you're interested in. But our next story is one that I hope brings some encouragement to the delay of Halo Infinite, as it has been reported that 2 veterans have returned to lead the Halo Infinite project.
I really hope that this makes a big difference, because it seems like Halo Infinite will be progressing a bit fast, and perhaps the game could become even better, because in a new update on Halo Waypoint, the blog addressed that 2 Halo veterans have offered to help build the game. Pierre Hintz and veteran Joseph Staten will join the development team.
So here are their roles. Pierre Hintz will lead Halo Infinite's team for the free-to-play experience. And according to the blog, Pierre Hintz and his team have demonstrated an amazing ability to deliver new content, an excellent fighting program, and substantiative updates across MCC over the past year. They look forward to having this expertise directly on the Halo Infinite team as they look to deliver a quality free-to-play multiplayer experience for everyone.
Meanwhile, Joseph Staten, who fully filled the cinematics role in the first 3 Halo games at Bungie, will now lead the project for 2021 release. Joseph Staten coming back could be really helpful, as the Halo blog describes he has worked at Bungie for nearly all Halo and Destiny games.
And this is what was said. It was said is if you enjoy Halo storylines, characters, and just the overall universe, he's definitely one of the key people you have to thank. As a product lead on Halo Infinite, however, Joseph will be focused on supporting the campaign's team's existing talent, creative leaders, and ensuring that they have everything they need to create an awesome Halo game. His return to the franchise excites us, and we are looking forward to having him on board.
Previously, we heard, the Halo Infinite and Xbox One saga when a gaming forum user reported that the game could be dropped on the platform due to development issues, but that won't happen. That is false. I'm very hopeful for this release. I agree with what Ray in the chat said. They called in the big dogs. I'm fine with the delay. And it also addresses the question that we've kind of been discussing of, do the people who work at Bungie, are those people like the OG Halo developers? Because when we attach the name Bungie to something, we assume that's the case, but it's not necessarily true. And now we see with 343 that they're calling in people that worked on the first 3 Halo games, which I think is more important than, what company they're currently working for.
That's the part for me that stands out here. Wasn't that they went and grabbed some individual from a different project of a successful series elsewhere or from anywhere else. They went and got pivotal people to the entire Halo universe, and making that comment like, look, if there is any aspect of Halo that you like and enjoy, this individual is someone you got to thank with regard to Joseph Staten. And then talking about Pierre Holtz coming in, or Heinz coming in and working on the free-to-play aspect, if anything that's going to help their success, like we've seen for Call of Duty, which is a series that's been around for some 17, 18 years now, we have to address that the free-to-play multiplayer experience has to stick the landing when it debuts for the first time for the Halo franchise. So this is also another moment of a decision being made that seems like 343 is going, guys, we really need to make sure we come out with a bang, because this delay was not something anybody was expecting. And if we don't come out and deliver out the gate, we're going to have a problem, and that is going to be not so good for this franchise, especially for the future.
I agree. If this game was launched and it wasn't so good and it got a lot of bad reviews, I could see people saying well, this is the death of Halo for me. I bought an Xbox to play Halo Infinite and it sucks. GG Xbox, I'm going to go over to PlayStation. Versus, delaying the game, which seemed like a big mistake or misstep, or initially it seems like a surprise that they would delay Halo Infinite for the Xbox Series X.
The whole talk was the Xbox Series X being
absolutely
a debut with a Halo game.
But I think with this decision, I think there's still definitely, hope for this game, hope for the Xbox Series X, even though it's clear that Microsoft actually cares more about, users subscribing to the Game Pass rather than buying the console. I think that this is, good news. It's also great to hear that they're calling in the experts of Halo. I think they should have, kept that team on the whole time, or these people working on the game the whole time. But so often I see, different studios or even different companies just try to take on things themselves, and then it ends up just being a watered down version of the original because they're just trying to create a copy instead of actually knowing how to make the game fun, knowing how to really, delve into the lore, and knowing how to make, a good finalized game.
Yeah, and this is one of those moments of the next time they release a video showing off Halo, it's gotta feel like something has changed, because we get the same sense of what we're seeing here and what people were addressing as being like their point of contention, that it didn't feel like a next gen title. It didn't. I was saying this on a podcast recently, was like that Black Myth Wukong trailer that we watched. That was the first time I saw a next gen game, along with the next story that we have, where I was like, this is next gen.
Right. You can tell.
Immediately, where when we saw this, it didn't feel that way, and that is a problem with going into the next gen. Is like, it's gotta be that moment of like, I can tell this is new and this is fresh. So I hope when we see Halo Infinite in action again after this story has now come to light, that we get that feeling.
I hope so too. You know, a lot of users, including myself, are going to be demanding, you know, next-gen titles. This is the space for blockbuster games. If there are indie titles, they've got to use, you know, the next-gen technology in some way that makes them stand out. Because I think, you know, the trend for this holiday release is going to be like big money, big graphics, you know, next-gen games that you can really tell are, you know, for the next generation and worthy of that $70 price point, because a lot of them are seeming to debut at that number.
Yeah, they are, and hopefully when we look at games like the next one we're about to talk about, it doesn't feel so bad throwing in that extra $10, because recently out of Gamescom, we got to see an extended gameplay demo for Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, and I gotta say, man, this game brings me so much hype for the PlayStation 5.
So much hype. What's up, Kicks? What's up, everyone who just came into the chat? So Marone, I have the game up. I'm gonna count down so we can start playing it at the same time after I do a quick refresh, because YouTube seems to be having some issues with me today. So
let's do it. YouTube, stop having issues.
YouTube. Okay, 3, 2, 1, play.
All right. We're right on point. I love it.
Nice. YouTube be acting up. It looks like an animated film.
It
like this looks
does.
like Pixar or DreamWorks or something.
It really does.
No. We're back. And not far from where we last saw him. We may still have time to put a stop to this.
Thanks, Kicks.
Oh dear. Let's show him how it's done.
So we saw this game, some of this game at the PS5 reveal event, and it looked great. There was just, you know, some gameplay, and we're about to see some more.
Yeah.
What stuck out to me, you know, with the first reveal was all the reflections on Clank. Yeah, and you can really see, you know, how the lighting works, and it's a great, you know, showcase of just next-gen hardware in that of itself.
I couldn't agree more. Also, what we're finally getting to see here is what feels like something we need out of these next-gen gameplays. It's like it just looks like they turned on the PS5, started the game, and went right in.
Absolutely.
The train's pulling away. Let's go.
And I've noticed this kind of next-gen trend of, in games already, you know, things will be in and out of focus, but I feel like they're becoming more and more cinematic with how, you know, the camera plays with the focus to make it feel, you know, like something's close to you or far away, or, you know, what you should pay attention to.
Yeah. I also love the scale of this game.
Yes.
The Dimensionator, nefarious.
Put down the Dimensionator. Yeah, right. Today I will finally be free of the both of you. Soon, everything you see will be mine. Say goodbye.
Insomniac always does a really good job with humor. I love their writing. Whoa.
Dang.
Aw. Poor creature.
Nefarious's device seems to have destabilized reality.
The bridge is shot. There has to be another way across.
The rifts appeared to react to your device. Try pointing it at one of them.
Right, as chat says, like, the difference between the Halo Infinite gameplay that we just saw and this, there's already such a difference.
That was rather exciting.
Immediately noticeable.
Gates before train.
Man. That's so cool. I also love the feeling of the life that surrounds the combat with all of those NPCs running and screaming for their lives.
This is worse than I had imagined.
So Meg makes a good point without realizing it about the X. Meg says, I still think that the PS5 has more going for it than the Xbox One X, so it's actually the Xbox Series X, but I think the Xbox Series X is a terrible name because there's the Xbox One, and then also the Xbox One X. And to name it the Xbox Series X is, I think, too confusing for consumers. Yeah. It doesn't make any sense. It just sounds like, you know, like corporate nonsense to me.
I feel bad for the kids this holiday season that don't get the Xbox Series X because the parent goes in thinking they're getting the next-gen console and they walk away with the Xbox One X.
Oh,
That's it.
No.
That's the one. That's... Oh,
I love it.
I can't wait to see all the different, like, universes that they put in there and realities that you get to jump into.
It's such a nice showcase of the loading times that it's like you go through a portal and maybe the portal is,
you're ready.
Yeah, like covering up for the load, but it's just such a part, like a smooth part of the story. It's such a seamless transition.
Yeah. Oh wow, what a gun.
I like the flips.
Yeah.
He must have more planned than he is telling us.
That's what I'm afraid of.
EJ says, so I've heard all the realities of previous games. I actually haven't played any of the Ratchet Clank games, so it's all new to me. Wow.
Can't wait to see what's new.
That seamless transition.
Yeah.
More butts?
This also feels like a game that's just really easy to pick up and play.
Yeah, it feels like it's very intuitive.
Yeah. A little robo-dog.
That's all of them. We have to get the Dimensionator away from Nefarious.
The people running in the background. Ah. So cool.
Dimensions are weakening considerably.
Wow.
How bad is it?
Well, it is certainly not good.
Like, this game looks wild.
It looks so intense. It's like going to the theme park and getting on a roller coaster.
Yes. I love this.
How many arms you got? 4?
Clank!
No. Yeah, Meg, I'm in that same boat. I don't think we've yet to see what these
Ratchet.
small load times are going to be like.
Ratchet?
Or shorter, sorry.
Who?
There's already so much fan art of her.
Yeah, there is. Yep. Oh my god.
This game looks killer. I think this is an insta-buy.
That is a hands down. If you own a PlayStation 5, you have to get Ratchet Clank. I think it's that game too that when you first get your PS5, taste of what's to come, I think it's going to actually check off all of those boxes of what we should feel for 2 years from now, 3 years from now, the scale of what the games are going to be. The comment in there was like, it feels like it never stops,
Yeah.
I think there's just going to be so much to the next gen that we haven't yet get to wrap our minds around, that a game like Rift Apart will really cover that for us.
To me, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart is kind of the showcase for me of next gen. If I wanted to show someone like, hey, this is a next gen title, like you want to see what next gen games can do, just watch the trailer that we just watched. There are all these other games that are trying to be sold, like Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice 2, or Halo Infinite, or, some of these other games that we've heard about that I don't think, can sum up as well that, can sum up next gen as well as this game just did.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. The next game we're actually going to show off is another one of those when we watched the first trailer for it and they were saying like this is in game. That was that moment for me of being like, wait, what? This Quantum Error is another one of those titles specifically for those like, I had a very like Dead Space vibe. And I remember the first time I played Dead Space, it haunted me with the experience that it gave. And so knowing with the audio, knowing with what the graphics are gonna be like we just saw from Ratchet and Clank, how that impressed us. As we watch this trailer, we get a very new, tense teaser trailer to this cosmic horror atmosphere of Quantum Error.
Do you have your video loaded? Shall I count us down again?
You shall.
All right, 3, 2, 1, play. Jesus.
Right away.
Oh my god.
Finally, we did it. That artifact you recovered. Held the answer to all our questions.
Whoa.
We can control them now. Use them to
Oh my god.
track the stars. Humanity's reach will be infinite.
Whoa.
Wow.
Quantum Error.
Wow. I got like those, not just the Dead Space vibe, but I felt Doom a little
Yeah.
bit too. You
Chad
know?
said that too. Yeah, Dead Space
yeah.
and Doom. Yeah, the sirens right off the bat, you know, the fire and explosions right in your face. I thought that looked super scary. Chad says the graphics don't look that great, which I agree, maybe they're not top notch, but I can excuse that because it seems like they've really captured the horror element and the fear factor very well.
Oh, completely. Because they did say that there's a PlayStation 4 version and a PlayStation 5 version. I don't know what we just saw there, and they did acknowledge that it was, obviously in more of like an alpha stage of the game. Which for alpha stage, I would say this for a next gen title in an alpha stage, feeling like Doom Eternal on its highest setting in graphics is impressive for what that could mean for when the game actually releases.
It is, absolutely. So to give you some background on the game besides what we just watched, when the Monad Quantum Research Facility 30 miles off the shore of California is attacked by an unknown entity engulfing the complex in flames and putting it into full containment lockdown, a distress call is sent for mutual aid to the Garboa Fire Department in San Francisco.
Fire Chief Sturgis answers the call and sends you, Captain Jacob Thomas, your partner Shane Costa, and a crew by helicopter to the Monad facility.
Your mission is simple. Save as many lives from the burning complex as possible and get out. However, what starts as a rescue mission quickly plummets into darkness when you arrive and find that things are not as they appear.
You know, that makes me feel, do you guys remember the game Fear?
I don't think I played Fear.
Fear was that setup where it was like, there's this moment, there's this huge thing going on, you guys are going in and having to take care of it, it's a rescue mission, and then you get in there and you're like, it's no longer a rescue mission! It's no longer a rescue mission! And that feels like the same setup here for this. I'm curious if the aspects of who you save affects the outcome of the story that you get.
I wonder, it seems like, you know, it's a rescue mission and you're supposed to save all these lives. Just seeing how many, you know, deaths happened in that quick trailer makes me wonder how many people you're actually going to save as well.
Yes.
If it's really more of just like survival or if you can actually get people out. I wonder if that also means there's going to be a lot of, you know, repetition in the map in a good way where if you, you know, go down certain hallways to get somewhere, you also have to go out that same way.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just going to say this too, by the way. Guff mentioned this film. If you haven't seen this film is crazy. It's called Event Horizon. Horrifying. I totally got Event Horizon vibes from that trailer. If they stick it like Event Horizon sticks in my memory as a horror film, this game will do, I think, very well, especially for those like streamers and the content creators that love to play these horror games. I'm genuinely curious to what is it about the PlayStation 5 version that will be different besides just the graphics and sound and obviously the DualSense controller than the PlayStation 4, because if that added layer of there's more monsters, maybe there's just more aspects of the game that you can't get on the PlayStation 4, of course, the load times, that might even shift more people to going, well, yeah, I can play it on PS4, but I really need to play it on PlayStation 5.
Right, I think that DualSense is going to be a big difference as well as the audio. Like, I can imagine a DualSense controller, like, jump scaring you as well. I feel like jump scares are scary enough, but to have a controller that's also, you know, a part of it, I think would make it even scarier. I think that's a great point that this, you know, and a lot of horror games might actually help sell the PS5, because even if you can get it on the PS4, you know, hopefully there's a big enough of a difference with just getting it for next gen that you might as well get it on next gen. You know, initially I thought like, oh, if there's a game that's on next gen but current gen, why wouldn't I just play it on current gen?
Yeah.
Well, you might be, but like you might be missing out, especially if it's horror, especially if it's, you know, a lot more immersive.
Yeah, I noticed that moment in the trailer, and I wonder if they put it in there specifically for this. When he uses like the tool to open the door,
yes,
there were 2 button icons that popped up to indicate something to do. And I didn't know if that had something to do with the DualSense. Obviously, they did it very quickly, but my eye noticed, like, I was like, wait, what's occurring with the door? And maybe how does that feel within the gameplay? And then how many times in the game do you have to go through something like that where maybe you hear, you know, something's coming at you. You got the tension of the door not wanting to let you through the door. Just that immersion alone drawing at you and gnawing at you as you want to get through the door and save yourself.
Totally, you know, what this plays, this is the moment Marrone's talking about. There's like a holds to play and something else that happens super quick, or holds to pry. Let's see if we can actually go back and see what that says. I tried to slow it down.
It was so quick, but it was enough to be like, what is that? I haven't seen that before.
Right? Like, what's happening here? I don't think I can find it in time. Oh, here we go. Holds to pry or cancel is what this says.
Interesting. So you can begin the action, because I'm always used to now in games, like if you open a door, it's a set moment, right? Once you initiate it, it occurs. But in this, it looks like you get a choice to say no, which is kind of cool, because like, you can open a door, maybe there's a monster there, and you're like,
God.
I'm
You're
good.
like, no, I'm gonna close that out. I definitely do that in horror games. We'll enter a room, see a monster, and just nope, right out of there, be like, I'm out, or I'll try to like hack and keep the door open and try to like shoot them, but not be in the room, so maybe it won't register, the monster won't register me, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's a cool little feature.
But if that's already, you know, included in this game, you know, you can cancel if something like that happens. I think would also be really cool. I wonder what some of these games will do if it's a feature like that isn't necessarily, you know, reliant on next-gen hardware, but it's just an example of just innovation in games.
Yeah, this is going to be exciting, and I can't wait to see this give its first, like, demo experience like we saw for Ratchet & Clank. I'm really excited to see Quantum Error in a playable format as we all get to just watch and see what is the feel of that PlayStation 5 experience, especially with knowing that pre-order is right around the corner.
Me too. The game looks great, and Quantum Error is going to be coming for PS4 and PS5. But we've got another trailer to watch with you as Medal of Honor Above and Beyond single-player trailer gives us a look at real-life events in World War II. Yeah,
we do have a lot of trailers today. I just processed that. I was like, we're showing quite a bit. Now, it has been a long time since we've seen anything regarding the name Medal of Honor. And in case you didn't know, Respawn Entertainment, yes, Titanfall, Apex Legends, has been working on this new Medal of Honor titled Medal of Honor Above and Beyond. Now, before we get excited, we have to remember that this is a VR-only game, though one that seems to be a full-fledged title based on World War II.
So at Gamescom opening night, Respawn gave fans a peek at Above and Beyond single-player campaign, so we're going to take a look. So I'm going to start the video in 3, 2, 1, play.
Oh, for mature audiences, Guff, you gotta go.
Gotta go. Any kids, get out of here.
Time some of you will see combat. I know you're scared. Let me be clear with all of you. I'm scared too.
Wow.
I like the music.
Same.
Welcome to France, gentlemen. I lead the local resistance cell. Something big is happening in.
Hey, thank you for the dono, Kai.
Thank you so much.
We're gonna have to improvise here.
Ooh. Whoa. Dang.
Oh!
Members of the resistance are perhaps the bravest people fighting in this war. But you really should stop. There is no
Special delivery!
Oh my god.
Sorry to interrupt, Lieutenant.
Jeez. This game goes hard.
Oh, that's that Medal of Honor music.
All right,
Oh my god.
We'll get you there.
Jet fighters, brace yourselves.
Like I said, boom.
There are things as people I'm willing to sacrifice myself for.
Wow.
The motley crew has been tasked with saving civilization. God help us all.
Wow.
Very nice.
Wow.
It does seem
Okay.
exclusive for the Oculus as well.
It is.
For better
It
or
is.
for worse.
It is, which I'm happy that I can actually play
Happy
this
that
game.
I have this quest, yeah.
Medal
It's
of
for the
Honor
risk.
Frontline. I just want to say this. In terms of the Medal of Honor series, Medal of Honor Frontline was the first game that I remember getting that feeling of storming the beaches of Normandy and just feeling that sense of like panic and fear that I know every single human being that sacrificed their lives in that moment went through. And we've talked about this a lot with the power and potential of virtual reality. Is I wonder if the story that they're going to tell is one that impacts you as you feel like you're there going through it. Not only are you going to have the fun and the spectacle that the Medal of Honor can bring, but also just that sense of like when you take off the headset, you're like, man, I can't believe people went through this. You know?
Right. I know there's a lot of war games, or there's at least one particular one, I can't quite remember the name, but it's, serves that experience of, it's supposed to be like, experiencing war in VR, and it's supposed to be kind of, a moment of reflection of, I am so glad, that, or I am so glad that I'm not like in a war right now, I think it's a lot more, you get a lot more appreciation for, peacetime. I think when there's periods of without war, a lot of people, don't have family in the military or whatever, they can often forget, how dire a lot of these situations are. I thought that just about the game itself, I thought it used VR in a lot of cool ways, such as, catching the weapon that gets thrown at you. I thought there were really cool interactions, putting the grenades in the vacuum thing was
awesome.
great. I think there were a lot of good moments, as well as, having to be quiet and maybe crouch down so enemies don't see you. I thought it was really cool to see that in VR, and I've noticed, especially with this game, that VR is definitely advancing.
Oh my God, that's a thing that I was I think someone was mentioning too, was just addressing how VR once was, but where we've come to now with virtual reality and those experiences that you get. I'm actually excited for Respawn because they're getting to step into a technology they haven't yet developed for, and they're taking a series that is well respected within the gaming industry. I think for a lot of gamers who have played specifically Medal of Honor and know every iteration of the Medal of Honor franchise, it's had its bumps in the road, but overall Medal of Honor was one of those titles you talked about in the same sentence you talked about Battlefield. And then when Call of Duty was coming around, you would talk about those 3 titles. So the fact that we haven't seen a Medal of Honor game in quite some time, and it's coming to this, virtual reality experience, it's almost kind of like what happened with Half-Life. When Half-Life came back on the scene, and it's only one that you can get in VR, I think it's going to bring over people to the Oculus Rift and to the Quest to try out this series that they knew and loved.
I think so too. Medal of Honor is a big name. I do think that people who, loved the series and love the franchise, will try this on VR. Maybe if they won't buy one, they'll try their friend's Quest, they'll try to borrow VR from someone. So to give an overview of the trailer that we just saw, it showcases Medal of Honor Above and Beyond's rich storytelling and insightful historical content as the franchise returns to its roots. Through VR, players will be transported into the boots of a combat engineer who is recruited to join the OSS, the Office of Strategic Services, the forerunner of the modern CIA created to conduct espionage and sabotage behind enemy lines during World War II. Alongside, go ahead.
Sorry, Ray got the what's in the mug for Marrone there. I didn't see the coffee comment, and Ray's just on point with pomegranate and now the coffee. Shout out to Ray for that.
Nice, very nice. So alongside a cast of new and returning characters throughout the Medal of Honor franchise, players will experience missions that will take them from Tunisia to across Europe, participating in some of the biggest moments of the war.
And it is being developed in a partnership with Oculus from Facebook, and more details about that are actually going to be shared on the Facebook Connect, which comes out on September 16th.
I'm surprised it took this long to get coffee, but I guess that was mentioned a while ago. I'm surprised it wasn't mentioned again.
I'm gonna pull out the teas like you, so I have this like hard list to go through, because today I was like, I just want coffee. They're gonna get this one quicker.
And I guess not. So I'm like, this game I thought was going to come out, over the holiday, but it's actually, releasing on September 16th, which is really soon. Super cool.
Yeah, it is. It's. I'm waiting to play this. I think when I first heard that Medal of Honor was coming to a virtual reality only experience, I was like, at first I was like, no, but then when I got the Quest, I was like, yes. So finally I can see this series that I haven't gotten to play in I want to say like a couple of decades now, it feels like.
It feels like a long time. I feel like I haven't heard anything, about Medal of Honor recently at all. At least it's not been in gaming news, or it's not really been at the forefront a lot of people's focus. So hopefully, this brings it back, in a second wave of interest.
Yeah, I agree. But a game you know about a lot is the one for our next topic of conversation.
Doki Doki Literature Club. So I actually initially saw this on Reddit, and there are now articles written about it. So the Doki Doki Literature Club creator Dan Salvato was demonetized for using his own music on YouTube. YouTube hurts itself in its confusion.
So the most recent stumbling by YouTube revolves around the horrifying title Doki Doki Literature Club, also known as DDLC, much easier to say. A free visual novel on Steam that surrounds a fun literature club filled with people with fascinating issues. The free-to-play aspect might sound tantalizing, but no, you're in for a little bit of a psychological scarring.
The creator of DDLC had his YouTube account demonetized for the past few months because he was using his own music, and he finally got fed up and aired his grievances on Twitter.
And this is what Dan Salvato tweeted. This is the creator of DDLC. My YouTube channel for Team Salvato is getting denied monetization because they think that the soundtrack I composed for my own game is quote unquote someone else's content. This has been going on for months and is not only losing us money, but also preventing us from protecting copyright.
Team YouTube first asked for his YouTube account and then concluded, your channel may be lacking content about the creative value you're adding to make the content unique. We recommend changing your overall content strategy and reapply in 30 days to send your channel for a new review. And then they said, check out our best practices here, and had a YouTube link directing to reuse of content info. So YouTube told Dan that he wasn't doing something new with the content that he had originally created.
God, but he went on to say this. I literally composed the soundtrack that I'm hosting on YouTube. It's not quote unquote reused. I'm the original creator and owner, and you're denying me the right to monetize first. original uploads of my own soundtrack. Am I missing something here? No, Dan, you're not. You're not missing anything.
So YouTube stopped replying to Dan Salvato for, some unknown reason. He still hasn't been allowed to monetize his YouTube channel, as the works that he has made are being used against him to stop monetizing from what he has made.
This is crazy, because I feel like this is something that could easily be fixed by YouTube, as it doesn't seem too difficult to source. Is this the actual creator of the content we're claiming they're not the creator of?
Right, I was so confused by this whole thing, and I was surprised that YouTube even asked him for his YouTube channel. I feel like that's something you can easily find. He's a known, game creator. DDLC is, it's kind of a niche game, but it's enough that, a quick search will get you to Dan Salvato's YouTube. It just seems like their responses were so automated, and there wasn't a person moderating this that took, 5 minutes out of their day to address this issue. I think this is another example of how you can only automate so much when it comes to moderation. Sometimes you just really need a lot of people to help address issues.
Yeah, and I don't know, maybe somebody was scarred by the game and the experience, and they were just like, you know what, Dan, you don't get it. I'm damaged. I won't ever forget what I experienced from DDLC. You're not getting your money. I don't know, but this is something that should easily be fixed. It just should.
Totally. And I think it's, it just goes to show that YouTube is kind of getting out of hand with how it operates. It's been out of hand for a while. Some people would have their videos demonetized if, let's say, you were walking down the street and recording, and then a car drives by with a Katy Perry song, and bam, your video has to be taken down, or you can't monetize that. And it's just so stupid. I understand that, that song might play in a car that drives by, but if that's not part of your content, if it's kind of out of your control, I think that there should be a little bit of leeway personally. I know that also, lies to the fault of the studios going after YouTube, not just YouTube itself. But for something like this, it just doesn't make any sense to me. I think it also, has a gray area with games. Let's say if I'm playing a video game and there's a song used in the video game and I upload, this game to YouTube, is that going to get copyright strikes? Where is the line of when is something original enough?
That's true. Yeah. It just feels like like you were saying, the dangers of automation without a human being on the other side of that decision being made, or some team that handles moments like this. Clearly, a live person didn't actually look at this and address it, because it would have been easily fixed by now and wouldn't be something dealing with for months. So
absolutely.
Come on, YouTube, make this work. This doesn't make any sense.
And Kane makes a good point that it's not like YouTube doesn't have the money to hire people to do this stuff. They're owned by Google. YouTube brings in so much money. YouTubers make so much money. This could have been solved easily. I hope it gets solved soon. I'm a big fan of Dan Salvato and Doki Doki Literature Club. Some people in the chat are saying, why does this game seem scary? It just looks cute and fun. So this is one of my favorite horror games because it looks cute and fun, but it actually gets very, very dark. It plays with a lot of glitches and kind of psychological horror, and something will happen in the game where you're like, is it just me or did that happen? I was convinced my computer was taken over by a virus after playing this game. It's very innovative and it's also free. This game is an absolute gem. So I hope that this is gonna get fixed for Dan Salvato, because I wonder how many other creators have, come across something like this.
That's the point that I was thinking about too, is who else is going through this and who else may go through this, that this is something that needs to be, solved now versus later, because that's people's livelihoods. Monetization is their business earnings, and that isn't something that should be just automated and handled by, some machine, especially with understanding that there should be a case-by-case basis in these, at least in these types of issues.
There should be, a case-by-case basis, a form of review, a form of appeals, versus just automation. Kai asks, can he sue YouTube? probably, but that seems like a ton of time, a ton of money, and it shouldn't even get close to that point. You know, he made an indie game that's free to play, and if he had to, you know, sue over that, I think that would just show how big the problem is.
Yeah, and I mean, Underachievement just said something there that it could be very true, which is like they want to make ad money off people's content. They don't really care about the user rights. That can be assumed by the behavior, because if they did care, he wouldn't be dealing with this issue still. And it does unfortunately leave you with that feeling when you walk away from it. You're like, do they care? It doesn't feel like it.
Do they? Well, a company that hopefully cares, we're going to end on some good news for today as Gamescom is going on. And Cyberpunk 2077 wins Best PlayStation Game at Gamescom.
Big surprise, big surprise.
Big surprise.
Established in 2009, Gamescom is the world's largest gaming event by exhibition space and number of visitors, with 370,000 visitors and 1,037 exhibitors from 56 countries attending the show back in 2018. And since 2018, it has been organized by the Association of the German Video Game Industry, but this year it's all virtual.
So playing on the screen right now is, you know, a bit from the Gamescom live event. I believe it's still going on. This is part of the VOD that's currently playing. And during Thursday's opening night of Gamescom, a number of award winners were announced, including Best Sony PlayStation Game, which went to the role-playing action-adventure title Cyberpunk 2077 from Polish studio CD Projekt Red.
And as we know, Cyberpunk 2077 has been hotly anticipated since it was revealed at last year's E3 conference that Keanu Reeves, Mr. Breathtaking, would be starring as Johnny Silverhands, a mercenary called an Edge Runner who is capable of hacking into a Matrix-esque version of the Deep Net. And the game is now officially set to release on November 19th.
Last June, it was revealed that Cyberpunk 2077 would also be receiving a TV adaptation with a 10-episode anime series in the works from Netflix and Trigger Studio. The series will be directed by Hiroyuki Imaishi and is set to debut in 2022.
Elsewhere, Best Action Game and Best Adventure Game went to Star Wars Squadrons and Watchdog Legions.
Little Nightmares 2 from Bandai Namco Entertainment won Best Nintendo Switch Game, while Best Indie Game went to Curious Expeditions 2, and Best Multiplayer Game was handed to Operation Tango.
Best Microsoft Xbox Game went to Tell Me Why, a narrative adventure game that includes a playable trans character that is the first for a major video game. August Aiden Black and Erica Lynn Beck star in the game as twins seeking to uncover mysteries from their past.
Gamescom runs from August 27th through the 30th, is being held entirely virtually due to the coronavirus pandemic, and you can watch it streaming on YouTube.
So make sure to check that out. I think this is awesome to see. Again, regarding Cyberpunk 2077, there's not a shocker for me that it would be getting this type of recognition. And especially for PlayStation, because we know this is coming out for all the other systems as well, except the Nintendo Switch. That the fact that it stood out like that at Gamescom for PlayStation is pretty significant for Sony rolling into when this game releases. Because, I mean, I'm jumping onto it on PC, but at the same time, would be interested in trying it out with, like, the PlayStation 5 when I get one.
Right, it's great news for Sony. And the genre and platform categories will be revealed at the Best in Show event on Gamescom on August 30th. Someone asked, how could this win awards? It's not released already. So the games that have been winning awards like Little Nightmares 2, Star Wars Squadrons, these games aren't out yet. So I assume they're given to reviewers. This probably will provide a big boost because Gamescom is very consumer oriented. So, you know, winning an award at Gamescom before release, I think, you know, will help spur, you know, the marketing and the buzz and the hype around a lot of these games.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. You kind of need an event like this that is respected, that is aimed at, like you were saying, consumers, to give people that we're moving into the holiday season. Money's about to be spent. We're still going through this pandemic, so not everybody's making money like they used to. So for those gamers who are like, I really have to make sure I'm spending my money and putting this investment in the right areas, this is kind of like a way of knowing, hey, this won an award at Gamescom. You're most likely making a good investment with your money in the game that you're going after.
Definitely, but that does bring us to the end of our daily gaming news for today. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a wonderful Friday. We'll be seeing you next Monday as we're live from 1 to 2 p.m. Pacific.
Thank you, everyone, so much, all of the members of the DGN family. If you're checking out our VODs on YouTube or here on Twitch, remember we are live, as being said, from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Monday through Friday. Also, we have been posting on our YouTube various segments from our episodes, so giving those little bites of what we talk about on daily gaming news. So make sure to check those out. Thank you so much for the donations, the follows, the subscriptions. This is not possible without the DGN family, so we love and appreciate you.
Not at all. It's not possible at all without all of you joining us and supporting us. If you want to send us a question, suggestion, topic, exclamation point, mailbag, we'll give you that command. But for daily gaming news this August 28th, I am Kaisa.
I am Marrone. You all have an amazing weekend, and we will see you next week.
See ya.